All right, on lesson 13, first problem we have is a review question. It says a survey conducted at Northeast Middle School indicated that 40% of the 7th graders wanted to learn German as a foreign language. If 160 7th graders wanted to learn German, what's the total number of 7th graders at Northeast Middle School? Well, what's going to jump out at me right away is I see this percent number, and I know that is my ratio value because 40% means 40 out of 100. That's going to go right there first. I'm going to go ahead and label that. So it says 40% wanted to learn German. So I'm going to put a G here for German. So I'm going to put a G over here for German. And the other number they give us, it says 160 7th graders wanted to learn German. What's the total? So 160 is the amount that want to learn German, and we're looking for the total. And we remember when we do percent problems, the bottom number is always our total. So you can go ahead to find that missing number. You can go ahead and multiply across 160 times 100 and then divide by 40. And the answer is 400. We got to see if that makes sense. So if there be 400 7th graders and 160 want German, and if we kind of estimated that if 50% of them wanted German, 50% would be half of that. That'd be 200. And 40% is less than that, so that's a good sign that 160 want German. So the answer is there's 400 total students. Okay, in this question, it says a tree that was 10 feet tall grew by 5 feet. What percent did it grow? So I'm looking for the percent. So right away I know I don't know the number out of 100. So I'm looking for that number out of 100, and I'm going to label that percent grown. So over here is going to be how much it grew. So it grew 5 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 by the growing spot, and then the total, it was 10 feet tall. So to solve that, you're going to go ahead and multiply across and divide, and you're going to get 50 over 100, but the question's asking for the percent. 50 out of 100 is 50%. So we just make sure we have a percent sign when they ask what is the percent. Okay, this is a new type of diagram for us. It's probably the most complicated diagram that they give us. The question says a plant that used to be 12 inches tall has grown to 15 inches tall. How much did the plant grow as a percent? So right away I'm going to know that I need to know how much did the plant grow as a percent. We're looking for percent, so over here is going to be blank out of 100. And I want to know how much it grew. So there's going to be G as my label here, and growing is how much my label here. To be really careful on this one. The reason they throw in some different shapes, notice that this is the triangle here, and so is this. Whatever number you put in one triangle spot, you're going to put in this one too, okay? Your original, see how that's kind of like a rectangle, that's going to be the same as this. So we're just going to fill in the information we knew. We know that the plant used to be 12 inches tall. That would be the original amount. So that's always our starting amount. The fact that I have that there can mean I can put it here too, because it's the same shape. It's going to be the same exact number. It is now 15 inches tall. That does not mean that it grew 15 inches. It means the new height is 15 inches. So that's going to go right here in the new spot. So it grew 15 inches. We have to figure out how much it changed. So before we figure out what number to put there, we look down here. 12 and what gives us 15? If it was 12 and is now 15, you should be able to figure out that it must have grown 3 inches. So it changed 3 inches. In other words, it grew 3 inches. So that number gets put up right here. We figured out this on the bottom, and now we can put it in the top. Okay, once we have our 3 numbers, we're just going to multiply across and divide. So 3 times 100, and then you're going to divide by 12, and your answer is 25. If this x is 25, but the question is what is the percent? So 25 out of 100 is 25%. Okay, on this question it says Alan's parents increased his weekly allowance by 10% from last year. If he was getting $20 a week last year, how much did he get each week this year? So right away this is jumping out at me, 10%. I know 10% is going to go right here in my ratio. So I'm going to put 10% out of 100. And what did happen? It increased. So I'm just going to put an arrow up because that's what increasing means. So if that's the arrow increasing, so over here this label's got to be the same. It's got to be the amount it increased. And we're going to fill in the information we know. He was getting $20 a week last year. That was his original amount. So I can go ahead and put the 20 here. And as long as I put it in this spot, I can go here too, because my original always goes on the bottom. It's kind of like our total goes on the bottom when we do percents. We want to figure out how much he'll get each week this year. Well, you can see up on our diagram, we have the three numbers. We can now calculate what this number is going to be. So if I go ahead and calculate that, I'm going to multiply across, so 20 times 10. And then I'm going to divide by 100. This number right up here is going to be a 2. So in other words, this top amount is talking about how much it changed. Because I should have labeled it, or I did label it, this is increase. So it increased by 2. So if it was originally 20, and then I'm going to increase it by 2, the question is, how much will he get this year? It's not going to get $2 because that wouldn't be a good deal. He was getting 20 and then 2, that doesn't make sense. So total, he's going to get $22 now. All right, in this question it says Mariah and Alex both started exercising more and each lost 8 pounds. Before they started exercising, Mariah weighed 160 pounds and Alex weighed 200 pounds. Who had the greater percent decrease in weight, Mariah or Alex? So we're just going to go ahead and look at Mariah right now. So if we look at Mariah, she started at 160 pounds. So that's our starting amount, and we should know hopefully by now that the original amount is going to go on the bottom. So she started at 160. We're asked to find the percent decrease in weight. So the number over 100, I immediately know I don't know because I'm asked for the percent. And I want to find the decrease, meaning how much it went down. So I'm going to put my arrow for this as I'm looking for how much down. So over here's got to be how much down. And it directly tells me Mariah weighed 160 pounds, but the first sentence says they each lost 8. So I'm going to put an 8 here on how much her weight went down. We're then going to go ahead and multiply across and divide. 8 times 100, then divide by 160. This number right here is 5. So her percent, 5 out of 100, is 5%. And now we're going to do Alex. So Alex is going to be the same. I'm looking for his percent. I don't know the blank over 100. I want to know how much percent it went down. So over here has to be the amount it went down. His original weight goes on the bottom, which is going to be 200. And the amount it went down, again, is in the first sentence. They lost 8 pounds. So you can go ahead and multiply across and divide. You can also, this is a good one to do some mental math with too if you want to. So if you don't want to, or if you don't have a calculator, you could just go, oh, the bottom's getting half as big, so you're just dividing by 2. So the top I would just divide by 2. And basically he lost 4% because it's 4 over 100, which is what 4% is. So who had the greater percent decrease in weight? Mariah did. Next question. Is the library ordered 200 books last year? This year they ordered 180 books. What's the percent of change from last year to this year in the books ordered? So again, I need to know the percent, so immediately I'm going to go over here and go X over 100. I don't know the percent. And they're saying, what's the percent change from last year to this year? Well, we have to look, did it go up or down? So last year was 200, this year's 180. Obviously, it went down. So I need to find the percent down. So over here's got to be the amount down. Remember, our bottom number is always our original amount. The first year they ordered 200, So I can go ahead and put 200 was the original amount. Well, now that I put that there, I know 200 is going to go right there also. I need to know, we know they ordered 180, but it didn't mean that there's 180 down. They didn't order 180 less. They ordered 180 books. That's the new total. So now we just have to figure out this bottom section because we only have 2 of the 3 numbers here. So if you were at 200 and now you're at 180, mental math should be able to tell you that it must have went down by 20. So basically they ordered 20 less. So that's going to go up to this spot. That's going to be 20 less. I now have my 3 numbers in my diagram. You can go ahead and multiply across and divide. And you're going to get 10. But the question is asking for percent. So 10 out of 100 is 10% decrease. Last question. While grocery shopping at Target, you are about to buy a 24-ounce bottle of ketchup. But then on a special sale rack, you see a larger bottle of ketchup that costs the same as the original bottle, but contains 15% more ketchup. How many ounces does the second bottle contain? Okay, so immediately I'm going to see my 15% more. I know I'm going to go 15 out of 100. Whenever you see your percent number, you know that's going to go in that spot. And this one includes 15% more ketchup. So I'm going to use my arrow up. So this is going to be my arrow up. And let's fill in some other numbers. We're going to buy a 24-ounce bottle of ketchup, but then we saw one that's bigger that costs the same as the original. So my original bottle was 24 ounces. So that's going to go here. So the 24-ounce bottle is what I was first looking at. So over here is going to be my 24-ounce bottle. I can see up in my diagram, notice I have my 3 numbers right there. So I can go ahead and multiply across and divide. So you can take 24 times 15, divide by 100. And you're going to get 3.6 for that spot right here. So 3.6 is going to go right here, and so then obviously I know it's going to go right here. And now I want to know how much does the second bottle contain. If it was originally 24 and we're getting 3.6 ounces more, the new bottle that I'm looking at would then be 27.6 ounces.